Okay, so in this video we're going to look at the 4 elements, which is a map of embodied ways of being. Again, it's not about putting people in boxes, it's just about having a map of our tendencies. Now, I've just been working with Glen. In another video we showed how he could become more earthy to counteract some of his air quality in order to get more grounded, to slow down, be more settled, which can be useful for him. So that's in the sort of short term. Another way of using the 4 elements is to get insight into a problem or a challenge. So we tend to look at any problem we have from one point of view, our sort of habitual disposition. So as a very fire person, any problem I have, I just go, right, I'm going to push through, I'm going to work harder, I'm going to challenge them, I'm going to kick some ass. And that's great sometimes, but not all the time, not with everyone. So it can be helpful for me to go into other dispositions, other elements to go, okay, what are some other options here? So, Glen, could you say briefly in a sentence or two a challenge you have in your life at the moment, a real one?
Yeah, certainly. So I write, I'm a commentator on men's issues. I get loads of opportunities to talk, to write, but turning that into money, there's that sort of the tension between the two.
Great.
And such as my desire to get the words out there means that I'll favour getting the words out there rather than focusing on how I can generate the income from that. So
Great.
that balance between those two things.
Great. So you love what you do, you have a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of creativity. Yeah. And that's that air quality. If you think of, just in the last video we saw, he had this very air quality, and air often associated with creativity and movement and you know, putting stuff out there. It's a very air kind of thing to do, yeah? So now the money, making the practicalities of paying the rent, and you know that is the earth quality there as well. But we'll also see other solutions to this that you might not expect.
Yes, great.
Okay, so at the moment he's in his kind of midpoint. For him, his midpoint isn't the midpoint, actually. No one's midpoint is the midpoint. It feels like the midpoint, but for him, actually, it's perhaps slightly more airy, slightly more aware in this area than in his lower half. Yeah, what part of your body were you aware of before I mentioned that?
Yeah, sort of just round about here to shoulders.
Okay, so slightly more up from the centre, yeah?
Yeah.
Great, so this is what we might expect. Some people with a strong air tendency, they're actually almost floating. He doesn't have this so much, but some people, where they'll almost be unbalanced or sort of floating, actually they'll be almost holding themselves up, yeah? And there can often be a lot of movement with the hands. I'm sure if he was talking creatively about what he does, that would come in.
Oh, yeah.
So we see that in certain cultures more than others as well. Okay, so that air quality, so that's one way of looking at it. So let's start with air, because that's actually where he's strong. We might as well start him off there. So I'm going to step out of shot and just let yourself be really air. So put your hands up and really move your arms around, move your hands, kind of really get really light. Okay, so what's one potential solution to this this challenge you have?
Okay, from an air perspective, this is just that my ideas are so brilliant, right? And just the more that I put out there, and the bigger I am, and the more creative, and the more words, and the more stuff, then the more money comes in. It's kind of like, you know, it just follows, right?
Great. Yeah. Okay, and air can be very creative, so actually it can be good for any problem solving to go to an air mode. Is that what you're doing anyway, or is that?
I guess, yeah. So I mean, and it's also like constantly looking for the big idea that's going to make the big difference. Yeah, if I just get the one great article, or the one great book, or the one great thing, that'll be the thing that solves it all.
Great. So let's try, and that might be true. It's not my place to coach to say that this is a good idea or not. It might be something he's tried and isn't working. It might be something he needs actually to do more to really fully express his kind of strength and really go into it. That can be another smart strategy for people. So no judgment for me as in terms of whether you should or should do that. But what we're doing is getting them almost in a sort of pure form and then to differentiate them from other strategies.
Good.
Let's try earth now. So in the body, using the body, feel the ground, bend the knees, palms down, get that kind of that's it, quality.
Yeah.
Okay. And for people that haven't done as much embodied work, it might take them a lot longer to find that quality. He's done a bit with me already, so he's able to find it fairly quick. So same problem, same challenge you've got in life at the moment.
Yeah.
What's another potential option here?
Going really clearly to sort of a building metaphor, you know, an earthy brick, one brick at a time. Just, you know, be really clear what you're building and build it one brick at a time, and it's just take your time. You know?
Have a plan,
steady.
Have a
plan. Yeah, so many bricks this week, so many bricks next week. You know, it's really have it sort of mapped out and just enjoy.
Keeping the earth quality, you're getting excited about it.
I know, but it's isn't it? Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, that's the tension, I think. It's
Great. So this, from this perspective, is completely obvious. It's like, well, yeah, you have a plan, one brick at a time. You know, it's fairly straightforward. But that actually wasn't available to him in the other embodiment.
No.
Yeah. So it's a kind of new. It's a new perception. It's a new option that's becomes possible for him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try fire and water now.
Okay.
So with fire, put one foot forwards.
Yes.
And is the feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fire!
Okay, do this a couple of times. Yeah. Okay, so...
Who wants some?
There we go. That's the bit of air humour coming in there. So fire's got fire. It's a bit of air and fire. So it's straight into fire. So it's, okay, direct to the point. That what is a possible solution to this in fire?
Yeah, well, listen, it's just about getting the right thing and just going right for it. Action, 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 but action that's just not action all over the place. Like, this is the thing, this is what we're going to do, and let's have some action right now.
So targeted
Target,
action
yeah.
going towards it. And notice how his voice has changed. I haven't told him to do this, we haven't planned this, that just naturally happens with people as their voice changes.
Yeah, and I think there's a bit of ruthlessness there, and it's like
Yeah.
that burning off the stuff that doesn't matter and like really setting fire to
Yeah.
the stuff that does make a
Great,
difference on a
great.
daily basis. Like, what's the one thing
key
that's
win
going to make
here.
a difference?
Great. Okay, so that's what fire's really good at. And sometimes in people's lives, and they get a bit kind of wishy-washy, or a bit like they're doing this or doing that, too many different things. Sometimes that fire can really, that targeted energy to go after something is great. Okay, how's that feel?
That feels great.
Feels
actually.
good. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go burn something.
Right. Okay. Okay, so move your hips a bit now.
I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, sometimes guys find this one harder as he does men's issue stuff. I'll be familiar. Bit of that, so the air humour come back in again, I notice. So 1 foot back,
Yeah.
and this time sort of come back. So you're slightly back weighted.
Okay.
And you've not done this one with me before, have
No.
you? So it's a new one. So really, it might take you a little longer to find.
Okay.
And have that sense of receiving. So the spine is kind of more receptive.
Yeah. Okay.
And more, there's a flow. So not as light as air, still kind of heavy.
Yeah, I got it.
But there's a flow there. And open the arms, open
Yeah,
the arms.
okay.
There we go, lovely. Yeah, really open the palms this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so from there, what might be possible?
Okay. What I can sense already is an openness to opportunity, and I think something much more collective in this perspective here. It's a bit wishy-washy, right? But I also feel that there are opportunities through partnership, there are opportunities through collaboration, through teamwork, that kind of stuff, which if I'm not looking for them, I won't find them. So it feels vaguer, but it also does feel much more open and loving and abundant to be in this position here, and something that I'm feeling like I wouldn't want to lose this through doing the other stuff. I wouldn't want to close off what you're calling water side, which is open, receiving, open to new potential.
Partnership, collaboration, all those things. Yeah. So these are classic water things that are about relationship, they're about being open to things, receiving, and you can see that's again very useful. Glen moved from sort of a negative association of wishy-washy towards the end of what he was saying. There's a much more positive association. And that can be the way with patterns that are less familiar. Is that fair to say?
Definitely. I've noticed actually how quickly I'm wanting to move out of that. You know, it's something that's uncomfortable. So that's like an area I can see to develop.
Great. So the areas to develop are often going to feel either uncomfortable, or sometimes if we're really ready for change, they can be like, I'm totally longing for this. This feels so good. But it has a quality of unfamiliar, like you're a starving man getting food. Yeah, it's one of those two qualities. Usually it's more the former. It's more just like, okay, it's a bit uncomfortable. I want to get out of it. Yeah. Okay, so coming back to your midpoint, which isn't a midpoint really, but it feels that way. Yeah. Is there any key takeaways from those 4 things that you'd like to put into? At this point, we'd probably go, if we had more time, into like action planning and actually sort of looking at concrete.
Okay, so I can see that the mix of those 4 is going to be really beneficial. I can see that I will naturally do the creative stuff. It's almost like I don't need to worry about that.
Sure.
That'll take care. Almost like it'll take care of itself. That I need to be clear on what the Earth sort of plan is step by step. The big win from today for me is actually, come on, Glen, fire. Let's keep getting focused on the stuff that's going to make the biggest difference, and allow space for new opportunity. Don't close everything off.
Both the fire and the
water. And then to keep reminding myself of that water box, I'm aware that that's the place where I'm least comfortable.
Right.
And obviously there's new opportunities that I won't get if I don't go.
You'll miss them. Yeah.
I'll miss them.
Be open to them. Yeah. Great. So at this point, we could either design actions, like, okay, every day he's going to do a planning session for 10 minutes at the beginning of his day, and actually help him be accountable for that. That'd be one thing we could do. Or we could give him a practice. So let's say he wanted to get more comfortable in the water. Well, I could suggest he take up, say, salsa dancing, which is a very water kind of practice, And in order to build that capacity in him longer term. So there's the actions and there's the practices. So that was a very quick, normally with a client that session might take an hour or 30 or 40 minutes. So that was a very quick overview for the sake of demonstrating it on camera. So thank you very much for
Do you want it, Dan?
doing this. Yeah, go on.